Welcome to Patty's Aquatics. So today I have another review video for you guys, and POPOSOAP was kind enough to send me their solar pump kit to use in my outdoor summer tubs. Now, as of today, it is November 1st of when I'm filming this, and it's beyond my summer tubbing season, but my summer tub is still up. Well, one, because I have my goldfish in there, but two, the temperatures have been unusually warm, and it's just perfect timing that I got this kit to be able to use out there and test it and try it out before I completely eliminate that tub for the season. So what I love about this pump is that it is solar powered. So it runs entirely off the power of the sun and there's no electricity. So stick around and let me show you what it's all about. So this is the POPOSOAP solar pump kit out in my pond working currently. And this is the solar panel that's sent with it. Now, I put it in the pond and I didn't record me setting it up. I put it in there because I like to use my products at least for a couple weeks that it gets sent to me to be able to get a feel for them before I can make a video, because I don't like just making videos on something I just use for like 2 seconds and say I like it. I really like to experience the product a little bit before I can really explain to you guys my feelings on it. And with that being said, I'm extremely excited to have a pump that can run entirely off of solar power. With that, let me pull the pump out of here and show you exactly what it looks like and what's all inside of it. Now, this is the housing for the pump itself, and then, of course, the PVC attachment from the pump that returns the water back into the pond or summer tub or whatever you plan on using it for. This is a very nice outer box that's very sturdy and holds that pump and filter media inside of it very well. And with that, let me open it up. Now, as you can see, it's got 4 locking mechanisms on each corner, which securely locks the cover in place. And the PVC piping that attaches to that pump comes off very easily. It's got plenty of ventilation holes for water to be able to pass in and out through the top. And then this is the filter pads that are included that are on top of that pump. And then inside, as you can see, it's loaded with about, I think it was 20 of these bio balls that come along with it. And the pump itself has suction cups at the bottom that suction cupped itself to the bottom of this housing so that it doesn't move around on you. And there's plenty more space to add more biomedia in there if you choose. Now, the one complaint that I do have with this was the instructions in the manual, which I'll go over a little later, that I found were a little lacking. Now, these 2 pieces of filter I had no idea what they were for. So initially I put them where I just showed. I thought they went on top of that stem, but they're actually for the front of the filter, the replacement pads for where the water gets sucked into that pump. Another nice thing is this housing has a little slot for that wire for the pump to be able to be guided through, so you do not pinch that wire when you put the cover on. Now that I showed you what's inside this housing and how the pump works, let's get it back in my pond. And I'll show you the different spray nozzles that come with this, and I'll show you a little bit more about the solar panel and its features. One thing to keep in mind when you do put this in your pond or tub, if your water is too deep and that spray nozzle does not come up out of the water, you want to put a brick or some kind of feature underneath it to get it up out of that water. Now, the solar filter comes with 3 different spray nozzles. They all have their own different spray pattern of technique of how they spray back into the water, whichever one you prefer, but this is my favorite. I love that like bubble look where it bellows around and moves around with the wind. And I really do like it. So you choose the one that works best for you. But like I said, this is my favorite. But with that, let's take a closer look at the solar panel. Now, this is the part of this pump that really interests me, is that solar power aspect of being able to not have anything plugged into this tub in the summertime, to be able to manufacture that electricity from the sun to be able to get some water movement within the tubs. And with that, the cord that's attached to it from the pump to that solar panel is very long itself, which enables you to be able to put that in a large amount of areas around wherever you plug that into. Now, the one part of it, this thing is completely and utterly dependent on the full sunlight. If I stick my hand in front of the solar panel, as you see, it stops working. So on cloudy days, it may not run full blast, and at night, obviously, it's not going to work. So that is one thing to keep in mind if you're wanting to run this all day long. It may not do it depending on your weather conditions, but it's okay for me because I don't need it to run 24/7. Now with that, there's a stake that's also included that you can put into the ground and place the solar panel in it if you wanted to put it into the ground somewhere to be able to do that. I'm finding the best place to put this without any interruption from the sun is somewhere higher up on top of a fence post like I have here, my deck post, or on top of a fence post or somewhere like that to keep this thing running during the day to be able to enjoy this awesome water feature. Now, the way I set up my summer tubs, I don't necessarily need water movement in it, or I don't necessarily need a water pump like this, but in this bigger tub, I enjoy to be able to have a feature in it like this that can make it look cool. You have that water trickling sound and you've got a feature like this. And I could see this being great in a little pond as well, to be able to have not only filtering your water, but it's giving a feature to it that makes a trickling noise and gives you something really cool to look at. So this is the POPOSOAP Solar Pump Kit. Well, that was the POPOSOAP Solar Pump Filter Kit, and it's going to make a great addition to my summer tubs for next year. I'm glad I was able to try them out and really see how those water features work on it so I know what to expect for next year. Now, there's a couple things I do want to touch on, which I mentioned during the video. One, I thought the instructions were a little confusing. Not totally, because I figured it out, obviously, but there was a few things that weren't listed in there, like I showed these little filter pads, these replacement ones. Looking at them now and knowing what they're for, I can tell they are by the shape for the front of that filter pump, but I wasn't sure at that time, and that was a little confusing. Now, the PVC piping itself, the way that it's listed in the instruction manual doesn't really fit how they went together because there's different pumps shown within this instruction manual. So I had to go onto another YouTube channel to really figure out how they worked. So that is maybe one thing POPOSOAP could maybe take from this. It would be maybe their instructions could be a little more clear within their manuals to help the users when they buy these. Secondly, the solar panel itself. You just got to keep in mind this is not something that's going to run 24/7. And if you have cloudy days, it's not going to run, maybe not at all, but if it does, it's going to not run at full power because it needs that full sun. So that's things also to keep in mind if you're thinking about purchasing one of these. Now, like I said, for me, it works completely fine. My ponds and the way I set them up don't depend on water movement 24/7. So if I can even get a few hours of water movement within it with this, it works perfectly great for me. With that being said, I will put the Amazon link for this within the description of the video. I'll also link POPOSOAP's website, and I highly recommend you check it out. They have other pumps as well that are electrically powered that are not solar, so if you're interested in that. But I really find this solar pump to be really cool to be able to get away from electricity itself and to be able to be powered entirely by the sun. So that being said, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And always remember to think outside the box, take a step back in the nature, and I hope to see you next time here at Patty's Aquatics.